And good morning. Welcome to Kelowna Now Live on YouTube and X. It's Jason Mann with Jim Check, and we have a really big show for you this morning.
As Ed Sullivan used to say, we have a really big show. We have lots of new things we've added to the morning news, but we're going to lead off with
Liz from Big White.
There you go.
Hey, Liz, how's it going up there?
She frozen?
Hi, Liz.
Frozen?
Rut-row, Reggie.
I think her camera's frozen, or she might be frozen. Should we come back to her?
We'll come back to Liz. Liz, call us back.
See if you can get her on there, and then
we'll hear it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's, I guess, start and kick off with our top story this morning, and that is BC's overdose crisis. Story in today on Kelowna Now shows some visualized graphs and charts.
So this is part of that local journalism. I think we'll take Liz first there.
Okay.
I think she dialed back in. There we go.
Hi, Liz.
Hey, how's it going?
You must be calling in from the top of the world.
Just in the village, actually. Top of the world. It is snowing presently. I mean, everybody cross everything. But currently, from about a third of the way up the mountain, it's starting to snow again. So hopefully those temperatures are dropping and we can look forward to some of that fresh Okanagan champagne powder we've all been craving this past week.
That's awesome. We definitely have cooler temps in the forecast. But here we are. We're coming up to the weekend, and it sounds like Big White has a ton of, aside from spring skiing conditions, a ton of events and things happening. Why don't we kick off with the Free Tip Friday and what that's all about?
Absolutely. Down in our activities adventure area, down in Happy Valley, our magic carpets are open on Friday evening. So from 3:30 until 7 p.m., we have some of our snow pros from the school, the skiers and snowboarders able to help you with some tips and tricks if you're finding it a little hard to get into skiing and snowboarding. Maybe you just need a little tune-up. And one of the other great things is, if you're a grandparent and you're a skier and you've got those grandkids snowboarding and you're like, what do I do with them? Bring them along on a Friday night. We got some snowboarders. You can get some tips and tricks on what to do with those one-plank wanderers.
Awesome. And that sounds really good. And of course, that is right by the tubing park and all the skating and all that kind of stuff as well. So you take a few tips and then you go enjoy some of the other things as well, right?
Absolutely. So Friday night is also tubing with Loose Moose. So I think this Friday I have a sneaking suspicion Loose and Lucy may be in attendance. So come on over to the tube park. We've got hot chocolates that are free. I think that starts at 5 p.m. or just around sunset. And then if the weather's a little cooler and clement for your liking, you can pop inside for Après with John Boss down in the Happy Valley Day Lodge.
All right. And I think there was one other thing that we were going to
Celebrity.
Celebrity. You got a celebrity, maybe, speaking of sightings or appearances?
Yeah, on a Saturday, we are collaborating with OK Tire to have the Grey Cup visit with us.
Ooh.
So if you're into your CFL, we've got a CFL player visiting, but I won't give that away. You'll have to come and see us on Sunday or visit us at bigwhite.com and check out the OK Tire promotion that we're running. You can get close to the Grey Cup and maybe one of your stars.
Get a picture with the Grey Cup.
Exactly.
Liz, I just want to come up there and hang out with you.
You know how I love those. You know how I love those Instagram. You are welcome to come hang out with me anytime.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll in fact, I think we'll be up there this weekend for a bit. So looking forward to it and all the stuff happening at Big White this weekend.
You too, fellas. You guys have a great weekend. Remember, anything you need, check out bigwhite.com. Have a great weekend,
Thanks.
fellas.
Thanks,
Have a
Liz.
great day.
All right, that's Liz from Big White, and I guess we'll get on to our news story that we were.
The lead story we have this morning, right?
Yeah,
and that's from that local journalism
initiative
that we belong to, and they basically took all that data that we've had and we've been talking about and visualized it. So you can go on KelownaNow.com and you can look at all the graphs. We have a few of them to show you here, but
in short, since 2015 or 2016. 40,000 people in Canada have died due to toxic drugs. So that's like the town of Vernon vanished. Right. 14,000 of those deaths have occurred in BC. So if BC's population is about 13% of Canada, and our death count is 35% of the deaths. It seems like an unmitigated disaster.
And then toxic drugs are the leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 59 in BC, killing more people than suicides, homicides, accidents, and natural diseases combined. I mean, that is a scary stat for sure.
Writing's on the wall,
what I mean?
no?
And most of those people are not dying on the street; they're dying in their homes or in where they live, and that's the
So it's not the tent. It's not the people in the tents that are making up these large numbers. There's people in their homes.
So in Kelowna, 101 people. Just in Kelowna, 101 people last year. So again, go to KelownaNow.com. It's a really good long story, and it's well worth your time to go and read it, right, to get a better understanding of what we're facing.
Yeah. Well, the city has received plans for 3 new industrial buildings in North Rutland.
Yeah, so Kelowna developers looking to build 3 new industrial buildings in the North Rutland. The architect has submitted design plans on behalf of Mission Group for the new complex, which will be located at 2080 Rutland Road North. The site is adjacent to the new Co-op gas station that opened Rutland Road last year, and the plan is to build 3 multi-tenant buildings that would be orientated east to west. The average size of a unit would be about 1,900 square feet, would likely serve small to medium-sized industrial contractors, users like plumbers and that kind of thing, right? So there you go.
And Kent was on the road looking for comments from folks in the wine industry, and so we have some video. Wine growers of BC responding to the Alberta ultimatum on BC wine
Well,
sales.
it's the Alberta Liquor Control Board that is saying that wineries that are selling direct to consumers in Alberta could lose the ability to put their wine in liquor stores. So
Taking a firm hand there.
Let's watch this video.
Amber, joined by Miles Proden at the Wine Growers of BC. These letters that have gone to BC wineries, pretty shocking. How would you summarize what the letter's saying?
I think shocking is the right term for it. Sort of seems to be a bit of a piling on for the industry here in British Columbia. We've just come off another year of extreme freeze event. That looks as though it's going to be as catastrophic as the previous one we had last year. And so now to be denied access to the Alberta market, which is the second biggest market for BC wineries, is going to be catastrophic. So we're surprised and not sure what the motivation is behind it.
So wineries are being accused of breaking the law in that letter.
Well, unfortunately, this is not the first time we've had this happen to us. 2018, the AGLC threatened to blockade BC shipments into Alberta in order to get BC provincial attention for pipelines to Tidewater. So we were caught up in a political debate, politics, and had nothing to do with our industry, and we were just sort of used for that. And we were able to, cooler heads prevailed. I note that pipelines were eventually put through the province, so and wine continued to flow to Alberta. So what's happening to date, we're not sure, because it really isn't about law. We're not aware of any law in Alberta that prevents a BC winery from shipping to a consumer. There are laws in Alberta that prevent a consumer from receiving. So we suspect that maybe the AGLC, instead of going after Albertans in their own province, are coming after people here, wineries here in BC.
So
nuanced
you can go watch that full video on Kelowna Now. We also spoke with Dan Albus yesterday, and that'll be going up later today. Well, that live stream is already available on Kelowna Now's YouTube and X, but we'll be doing a story on it as well. And he addressed that this situation with the wineries as well.
All right. Well, Kelowna has a new fire chief, and applications came from across Canada, but Kelowna Fire Department chose to promote from within.
The new fire chief is Dwight Seymour.
All right. Congrats, Dwight.
And
Big job.
Dwight joined the KFD in 2021, so recently, as Assistant Chief of Training and Prevention, and was promoted to Deputy Chief of Operations in 2022. And he will replace the outgoing Travis Whitting. That's some pretty good advancement there in a couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. And Whitting is off to the Yukon, where he accepted position as fire chief at the Whitehorse Fire Department. That's a usually people come from there. They don't go there, but hey, it must have been a good offer. And Northern Lights up there, incredible.
I've heard it's
like
quite beautiful.
incredible. Like I've lived in the north, and you ain't seen nothing until you've seen that up north.
Well, the government has decided to invest $11 million to rent banks across BC.
So the province estimates that funding could support as many as 20,000 renters who face financial challenges. So this is zero interest loans that they lend to people, and you can borrow up to $3,500, and repayment terms are like 6 months to 36 months. And a study showed, 2021 study showed 61% of the respondents said they would have faced homelessness had they not received help from the rent bank. And so that money has to be paid back, but it is at zero interest, right? So it's kind of like a stopgap, right? So seems like a good idea.
And BC is set to apologize to a religious group whose kids were taken by force in the 1950s.
Yeah, so lots of Doukhobors settled in the Castlegar, Grand Forks area. I grew up in that area as well.
Some of the best borscht there.
Some of the best borscht, yeah. My mom used to cook at the Yale restaurant there. So the BC Attorney General is set to formally apologize to members of the Doukhobor religious groups who were forcibly taken from their parents more than 70 years ago. They say she's in Castlegar to apologize to members of the Sons of Freedom's Doukhobors who were sent as children to live in a former tuberculosis sanatorium for up to 6 years. The Sons of Freedoms are a small group within the Doukhobor community, an exiled Russian Christian group that was once known for naked protests and periodically burning down their own homes as a rejection of materialism. And they burned down lots of the hotels. And well, I mean, a lot of hotels in Grand Forks burned down. Not saying it was them, but it says the children were kept behind a chain link fence that they had to build.
Jeez.
I think the government apologizes for lots of things. They always seem to be ready to do more things to apologize for later.
One family doctor in Calgary says she doesn't know how much longer she can continue to care for her 1,500 patients.
Yeah, I think a lot of doctors are feeling completely overwhelmed. I think that's a feeling in much of Canada. They're saying they have way too many patients and they need to help fill that shortage in doctors. And if you go on Kelowna Now, you can read that story. The physicians got together and they were sharing their stories on X, like a live stream X platform, and lots of stuff you can find on X these days, right? So they were sharing that. Alberta, like other provinces, is facing an acute shortage of family physicians, a problem that has a domino effect throughout the health system as more patients without primary care seek aid in crowded emergency departments. That's the solution for many in the government. So, we'll just go to emergency. Well, emergency is overrun, right? So.
And Alberta government is thinking that this could be year one of a 10-year drought and has opened water sharing talks amid the lack of rain.
Yeah, so they're saying that this is what their future looks like. So it would open talks on water sharing between large users as province's drought situation worsens. And they're saying that there's currently 51 water shortage advisories in the province. River basins from the north to the south face critical water shortages from low precipitation. The Old Man River in the south is down to about a third of its normal flow. The Bow, which flows through Calgary, is about half of its normal level. And then even tributaries to the Peace and Athabasca rivers, those mighty arteries of the north, are well off their averages. I used to live by the Peace River. Agriculture and irrigation is by far the largest use of water in the province, and that's typically everywhere, accounting for almost half of its water license, mostly in the south where water shortages are most acute. Municipalities and Energy Institute are the next largest.
Well, federal agents in Manitoba have made an arrest and seized what they estimate to be more than $50 million worth of suspected methamphetamines.
$50 million of meth. That was on January 4th at the Boissevain, Manitoba entry port. The agency says they examined a commercial truck and found more than 400 kilos of meth packed in a number of rolling duffel bags. The shipment was headed to Winnipeg with what amounts to be about 4 million doses of highly addictive synthetic stimulant. That's crazy, right? The truck driver is arrested at the border and transferred to RCMP and has been charged with importing meth and possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking. And they say it's their largest seizure of illegal narcotics in the Prairie region. Driver is slated to appear in court February 1.
Well, bowing to a little bit of pressure from the provinces, including BC, the Liberals say that they're going to seek a delay to assisted dying for people with mental illness.
Yeah, Health Minister Mark Holland said he introduced legislation this morning that would push the policy back to 2027 after the next federal election. I think that makes a lot of sense. Holland and Justice Minister said they agree with the Parliamentary Committee on Medical Assistance in Dying that Canada's health system is not prepared for the policy. I don't even think society's prepared for the policy.
It's kind of a give-up policy at that point, isn't it?
It just doesn't make sense to me. Tracy Gray said earlier this month that the proposal could be a tragic course. I believe we should be focusing on efforts on improving affordability and quality of life and compassionately helping people where it should not be easier to get made than to access mental health and addiction supports.
I mean, we're talking about healing our life traumas. We're talking about eating properly and meditation.
They're comparing mental disabilities with physical impairment. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can feel really bad one day and then feel better the next. I don't know. Anyway, 5 things.
5 things. These are 5 things you need to know this morning.
And we'll kind of quickly go through them. Value Village, taking heat over prices. There you go. I did see a good piece that's saying a lot of corporations now, I think IKEA made that lead where they say they're going to cut prices. I think a lot of corporations are now looking at cutting prices and getting ready to lower their prices because they're having lower input costs. And they're seeing people not buying, so they have no choice but to lower prices. And the cure for high prices is always high prices, right? Yeah. Number 2.
I just want to say they're living up to their name.
So Danielle Smith did introduce some policies. There you go. Danielle Smith did introduce some policies for parental rights. You can go read all about that on our 5 things you need to know this morning. And the United Kingdom court refuses to hear Trump case about Russia dossier. You go ahead and read that one if you want. You just keep scrolling through there. So Zuckerberg, this I did watch on X this morning. Zuckerberg apologizes to families at U.S. Senate hearing. That was I think it was Jim Hawley, basically coaxed him into turning around and apologizing to a bunch of parents that were had their children, lost their children and stuff like that due to sexual exploitation on the platform. And there you go. And the EU agrees to a $72 billion package to pay Ukrainian pensions. Interesting. Anyway, sports. We got another video for you.
Western Canada basketball tournament is a toss-up.
So we got Kent.
And we're joined by KSS head coach Harry Parmar. Heading into this tournament, where do you rank this in terms of excitement for you as a coach, for all the things that happened in the course of a season?
You know, this is our 6th tournament of the year, and it ranks right behind the BCs for me personally. Everything we do up to this point is to get ready for this tournament, and then whatever happens after this tournament, we do to get ready for BCs.
Right. You know, it's so much fun for everybody when they get into this gym, especially if KSS is playing, the energy level. Do you feel that too?
Oh, it's hard not to. And the other teams, like Oak Bay was number 1, and we were in Victoria, and he's like, Coach, I want to pay you in a final. I'm like, they want to play in front of all the fans, but they want us in a final game and then see how everyone reacts to it. So the atmosphere is electric. You know, it can be good for us, it can be bad for us, but I think mostly it's positive. And this gym, you don't get that feel at the BCs because it's more condensed, yeah. and the fans are kind of over top of you here. Where at Langley Event Center, it's more of an arena and they can't get over top of you.
Right. But I guess you do have to watch out that people get too hyped up, where they're sort of wasting energy on their own excitement.
So in warm-ups, that might happen with our boys a little bit because they get everybody here. But I don't think it's fair, or it's really hard to tell 16, 17, 15-year-old kids to take it down a notch. This is their time. These are memories they'll have for the rest of their life, and they deserve these memories.
So,
looks like a good time there. Lots of excitement.
And then we had the Rockets playing last night in their first game of their road trip that we talked about yesterday, and they came out victorious, beating the Portland Winterhawks 4-3, snapping their losing streak as well, right?
Good start for the Rockets.
There you go. And then in our Future is Now section.
Yes, from SpaceX. Starship will fundamentally change how we access space, with entire space stations like Starlab launched on a single mission.
Yeah, so they selected Starship, SpaceX, to be their vehicle to get stuff into space. So that's cool. Like, lots of cool stuff. You can go, if you go on X and you watch that, you'll see how interesting that is, right? And then we've got the poll of the day, and we've got a poll out here, but actually this is what they call a leisure poll. That was corrected below, but showing you what it looks like right now if they had an election today, how many seats the Conservatives would win and how many of the Liberals would win. So they're saying a plus 83 for the Conservatives and 94 seat losses for the Liberal Party, and plus 9 for the NDP and plus 7 for the Bloc. So like looking like the Liberals would lose a lot of seats, right? So. And the only stronghold left for the Liberals, if you can call it a stronghold, would be Quebec, but the Bloc has definitely a lot stronger hold there. Mm-hmm. And then we're adding another section. We're adding section after section after section, and we want to, because we've done some live streams on A Better You, and then we want to kind of just bring a little bit of that into each morning news, so you have something you can talk about, or you can even text us or email us or whatever you want. I was watching something, and I think a lot of people who are scared of failure don't want to go all in, and so they have an excuse not to go all in. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they don't go all in on whatever they're doing, because then they don't have to like face failure, right? So, because if you go all in and fail, then it's like it feels bad, right?
Whereas if you don't go all in, you go, well, I didn't really give it.
Yeah, I didn't really try, right? So, and I think the lesson there would be to go all in no matter what, right? And then I think you'll find a lot more success in
What's
life.
the worst that's going to happen?
You're going to fail. But
I guess that's already happened though if you didn't go all in.
There you go. And I've been doing something.
It's funny.
I've been doing something for the past 2 weeks that I'm really, really liking and finding it pretty invigorating. I started taking cold showers in the morning.
Yeah.
And I do that after the warm shower, though. I end with 3 minutes of cold shower, and it's definitely gets your heart rate going.
Oh yeah.
No, it's pretty.
And your
pretty
endorphins.
Yeah, and you can feel the result for the most of the day. So, if anybody's had a cold shower, let us know what you think. And in finance, the U.S. Fed held the interest rates yesterday, indicating that they're not quite comfortable yet to start easing. And then a lot of people are saying now that they likely won't ease in March, and they'll likely be in May when we see the first rate cut. But who knows? Lots of pressure on the markets with layoffs and stuff like that. And that's our next thing that we're talking about here. David Rosenberg, a Canadian economist, said, "Where's the recession? Where's the recession?" I'll tell you where it is. He says it's in the UPS earnings release, as in contraction in shipping volumes. It is now really, really tough to buy into the government's Q4 government-managed massage GDP data. So 25% of jobs created, this is an American stat, 25% of jobs last year were created in the government. Deficit spending is delaying the inevitable. Meanwhile, lower class has been crushed by inflation, right? So they're playing with the numbers. There you go. In X-Files.
Yeah, so this is about the highest signed e-petition being presented in Canadian history.
I don't know, can we play that? I think you got to click the volume button right there. You almost got it. There you go. Roads.
That's a big petition.
It is.
Yeah.
Roads report.
Brought to you by CSN Collision Centers. Section of Highway 1 near Lytton that was closed has now fully reopened. That was due to some flooding issues and such.
There you go. And then we got our stats section. We're going to do a stat every morning too. And we're going to go back to that first stat because it's really shocking. And I just want to, if people can kind of just let this one sink in. Toxic drugs are the leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 59 in British Columbia. That's from ages 10 to 59 in British Columbia, killing more people than suicides, homicides, accidents, and natural diseases combined. Natural diseases, I mean, that's a big one, right?
And that is 3 times more, disproportionately more than the rest of the country on average.
Yeah, and men are overrepresented in this crisis. In 2023, 70% of those people dying are male. And 70% of those were between the ages of 30 and 59. So there's an interesting stat that kind of is very shocking, right?
Yeah.
And the weather.
Brought to you by ATB Wealth. Realize your vision of wealth at atb.com/wealth Kelowna. You got it right there out the window. What you see is what you get. Cloudy, some showers, high of 8 degrees, down to 5 overnight. So very mild over the next 24 hours. And taking a look around the province, I just want to take a look at this picture up at Predator. It was white and covered with snow yesterday. And today, lots of green, starting to feel and look a little bit like spring there. Checking out some of the roads. There's the top of the Coquihalla Summit. It's just going to be wet and times foggy. And there is your route to Calgary as well. And as we look across the week, or I guess the weekend now coming up to, we have some showers today.
Kill that background there.
But that will clear. The showers will clear. And maybe a little bit of sun breaking through tomorrow. As we get into the weekend, cloudy and around 5 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday. It does cool off a bit on Sunday, and we might see some showers or even flurries in the valley on Monday. So
there you go. That looks like great weather if you're going
nice
outside.
Weekend, yeah. Nice weekend ahead. And that's your weather forecast and your news for
there you go.
Thursday.
That's 30 minutes, and we added a whole bunch of other things in there, and we'll try to keep that going, and we'll try to tease more of that stuff as we go. We'll see you again at, I think we have a live stream today.
Got a couple of things. So first off, we have Freeze the Fall Band. Quick little interview, and they're going to be debuting their first song that they've recorded. And we'll have the video as well. So not only the song, but the video. We're going to debut that today at some point. And then I think we have
Shane Stiles coming in again from Epic Real Estate, and we'll be kicking off our real estate monthly column.
And back with the news at 4 as well.
All right. Until then, have a great day.